like to welcome you today. We're in the midst of thinking about the past and the future. I just want to take one moment to think about what's coming next. Today, I'd like us to reflect and meditate on the idea that what is happening next sometimes we think of as more important. That's what's happening now. And so we lose our sight in what we're doing because we're thinking so much about what's coming up, what we have to do next, as opposed to just what we're doing now. I think a lot of us suffer from that. I'm trying to find a reading I'll try to have for tomorrow that I had read about a writer who's sitting there and all he writes about is how he can't wait to finish this poem so he can get up and do what he has to do next. And literally the entire poem has nothing to do with what he's actually doing at that moment, but everything to do with what he wants to do. And it occurs to me, there's been so many times where I'm in the middle of doing something, yet I'm thinking about what I'm about to be doing, and then either I make an error, drop something, don't hear what someone's saying to me, or I'm just not in the moment. I'm just not here. I'm there. The irony is that you have no idea what's going to happen there. And the only thing you do know is what's happening in the present. So it is curious. And maybe that's why we think about what's happening in the future, because it's uncertain and it gives us anxiety. So our exercise today as we do our meditation is to really try to stay in the moment. Sometimes I find during the meditation that my staying in the moment is commenting in my mind to myself on how my meditation is going. And I'm not sure whether that's actually being in the moment or if that's taking my mind away from it. But that may happen to you where you're sitting there going, wow, it's really hard for me to concentrate on my breath. How come it's so hard for me to concentrate on my breath? I wonder why I'm not able to do it so well today. I did it yesterday well. That's all talk about the meditation that you're doing, but it is taking away from just being in the moment. It's like we're commenting on the moment as opposed to truly being inside of it and existing in that now, which is what we're attempting to do as we come together for our meditation. There are a lot of reasons why our mind takes us into the future. First of all, because of what I mentioned earlier, maybe it is anxiety-ridden, right? That we're worried about what's going to happen. And so that enters into our mind and takes over our mind. It could be that we're really looking forward to something. When one of my daughters was really little, she used to get very upset when things would end, because she's like, oh, I've been looking forward to this for so long, for weeks and weeks. This day I've been like, July 15th on the calendar. I'm doing all of my work towards July 15th, and then it happens, and then what? If we're only looking forward to specific things that may happen to us, then maybe we lose out on all the stuff that's on either side of that moment in the future. Or we lose sight of what's happening today because I'm so concentrated on the future, and today could have been an incredible day. So I think part of what we do in our meditation is to train ourselves to be a little bit more present. The mindfulness aspect of what we do, for sure, right? You're taking moments to think about what you're doing, and really concentrating on what's happening now. You're mindful of every movement and everything that's going on. So it's very hard to push yourself into the future. And just kind of as a final note on that, it is quite interesting that I've had lots of conversations with rabbis over the last several weeks, obviously. Everyone is talking about High Holy Days. High Holy Days is 2 months away. There's going to be a lot that happens between now and then. So there has to be a complementary times in our lives, right? Like when we think about what's happening in the future, then we think, okay, now I have to take this moment to do that. But complementing that is I have to be in the present moment as well. So that combination of, yes, I need to plan for the future, but I don't need that future to take up all of the space in the present. Maybe that's the best way to put it. Our future doesn't have to take up all the space. It can take up some of our mind space, and it's natural to. But if we let it control us and take hold of us, then we're going to miss out on so much. So today's about future, putting it in its place, keeping it in the future, making room for that, but trying to keep ourselves in the present. So perhaps today, when you notice the thoughts that you're thinking, is this a thought that has to do with something that's coming up? Is this a thought that is your fear maybe about what's coming up, or your anticipation about what's coming up, or your anxiety about what's coming up? What is the emotion that's attached to your thoughts and feelings about what's coming up? Perhaps that's part of our exploration today. So let's get ourselves into our meditation position. Okay. Here we go. Today we'll say at the end, may I feel luminous and loved. I'll get to that later, but today's the day to feel love. So we start just concentrating on our breath, or just breathing normally. You don't need to control it, don't need to change it. And we're just allowing things to be as they are for now. Allowing them to be as they are for now. That should be the catchphrase during COVID-19, because you can only allow things to be as they are for now. Tomorrow it may change. Next week may be different. 2 weeks may be different. But for now, we just need to allow it to be, and perhaps not fight it. Perhaps not let it enter into us in such a way that keeps us from living. Just allow it to be as it is for now. Take stock of your body and how it feels. How does it feel to have your breath going through your body? Do you feel your heartbeat? Does your head feel okay? Are your arms okay? Your legs, your back? Is anything bothering you? Just notice it and tie it to your breath. Paying real attention to the nefesh, that time between the top and the bottom of your breath, that moment before you breathe out or you breathe in. That's the refresh moment. I kind of think of that nefesh as on your computer, when you're on your Safari or Google Chrome or something like that. There's a little button in the window on the top that has a little circle, a little refresh button that has a little arrow that turns around. That's what we're doing when we reach that nefesh moment. We're refreshing the breath as it comes back into our body. Be quiet now. just a reminder that if your mind takes you away, just notice what you're thinking about. Is it something from the past? Something in the future? Be curious. And then just bring yourself back to your breath with love, with chesed. And we'll ask several minutes together. Let us bring our feelings towards love and light. The two questions we ask. May I feel luminous? May I feel loved? It's the middle of the week. Sometimes feeling a little dark on Wednesday. May I feel luminous, light. May I feel loved. It's important to feel the love of others. Where do you feel loved? And if you're having trouble getting there, may I feel loved. May I feel luminous with each breath. Try to offer these feelings so that they can be manifest inside of us. May I feel luminous. May I feel loved. May I feel luminous and loved. Let's just take many breaths on our luminescence, on our love. May I feel loved. May I feel luminous. If that word luminous sets you off and you don't know really what to do with it, you could use the word light instead. Enlightened could be used. Shining could be used. May I feel shining. May I feel light. May I feel luminous. May I feel loved. Feel luminous and loved. And let's just finish up by bringing ourselves back to our breath. I hope you found some stillness, some quiet. May you feel luminous and may you feel loved. I hope you have a